Hello again, Vinyl community. This is Matt, and today I wanted to have a little bit of a more in-depth look at my vintage audio setup. At least it's vintage for the most part, except for the turntable and CD player. And the kind of bones of the setup, if you like, is entirely Kenwood. It's nothing that's particularly high-end. But it probably still beats out a lot of amps and so on that have come out since then. Especially more modern stuff. A lot of the modern amps are made fairly cheaply. They're designed to do a lot of kind of bells and whistles, Bluetooth support and surround sound and a lot of fancy schmancy functions that I'm not interested in. So the turntable up there is an Audio-Technica LP120. It's a great turntable. I'll probably show that a little bit more another time. But let's take a look at the Kenwood. So this is a KA 3500 or 3500 amp. It is, I believe, 40 or 45 watts per channel. It can support up to 4 speakers. And indeed, you can actually tie both sets together and play audio out of both sets of speakers at one time. It has 5 inputs, essentially. You've got the phono, which of course also comes with a built-in phono preamp, the tuner auxiliary, which I have hooked up to the CD player, and then you also have tape A and tape B. Tape A goes to the cassette, and tape B I have going to the 8-track. Moving down, we come to the tuner. This is a KA 5300 tuner. Again, it's Kenwood, very vintage. This kind of classic look, classic dial way of tuning things, AM and FM, and yeah, it seems to work okay. It suddenly doesn't seem to be tuning too well as I'm doing this, but anyway. You have a stereo indicator light that's flickering because I don't quite have it tuned properly. Underneath that we have the cassette. This is a KX620, again Kenwood. And it's not bad. It has some nice features and one or two undesirable ones. I love the VU meters; those are cool. It does have Dolby noise reduction. It does also support chrome tapes. The main drawbacks are that it doesn't support metal tapes. It came out, I think, a year or two before metal tapes became more commonplace. It's also completely mechanical, which is either a pro or a con, depending which way you look at it. Also, the cassette's kind of interesting. It's sort of I don't know if you want to call it a top loader. It's not exactly a top loading, but the cassette doesn't sit vertically. It goes in, actually I'll show you. So if we take a cassette out of here, take out Bruce Springsteen. Okay, so of course in most modern cassette decks, and even a lot of cassette decks of the era, the tape would sit in like this. You'd have a drawer that came out, or maybe a drawer that you would pop open. You would slot it in, push it back in, and hit play. Well, with this one, the tape actually goes all the way in, and you push it down, so it's kind of resting in an angle there. And do that, start it up, and yeah, it's kind of crazy. And when you eject the tape, it's kind of funny because if you hit it hard enough, you can actually get the tape to pop all the way out, which I'll show you in just a second. And we can see we've got the VU meters going. We've got Bruce Springsteen playing right now, so that's kind of cool. And I'll show you the eject. So again, we put this up and stop it. And, well, you can kind of get the idea. If you do it hard enough, it can come shooting out. Now, I am having some issues with this particular tape deck. Actually, to be honest with you, I'm having a few issues with all of these kind of components. the cassette deck, the rewind is no longer working very well on any cassette. Also, the VU meter, the right one, has a really curious issue. What keeps happening is after a little bit of play, if you hit stop, you notice that the VU meter on the right will suddenly peg all the way to max, and you'll get a low humming sound. I did look this up. Apparently it's a fairly common issue with this particular model of cassette deck. It's not unheard of by any means. The remedy, the only way that I found to fix it, is to take a blank cassette, put it in, and put it on record, or put it on pause and put it on record, hit stop, and that seems to make it go back. I have also since read that Kenwood had a curious method of tying a lot of the circuitry in through the record head. It ended up being like on the same circuit, and so that may be why this little record trick seems to fix it, although only temporarily until the next time. The rewind issue, of course, would be a pretty simple fix. It's almost certainly just a bell that needs replacing, so that I'm less concerned about. But the VU meter humming issue, that I think is a little bit of a bigger project, and one that I'm honestly not going to take on, which I'll explain in a minute. The tuner is okay for the most part. It doesn't always tune quite as well as I'd like, as we were just seeing. Sometimes it's a little flaky to pick up an FM signal. It also has a little bit of an issue in the right channel. Sometimes you have to get the RCA cable just right, and otherwise it starts cutting out. Probably just a loose connection, I would imagine, in the back. But I haven't actually explored fixing it. And then the amp actually isn't doing too badly, but the main issue is a lot of crackle when you really do any of the controls except for the volume. The volume seems okay, but the bass, the treble, the balance, you get this horrendous crackle, and the balance really doesn't work properly. It's not worth trying to mess with it. You get all of this sort of, crackling sound. I have opened this up. I have sprayed contact cleaner just about everywhere I could find to spray it. Left it half an hour, put the power back on, didn't make any difference. I didn't necessarily expect the contact cleaner to fix it completely, but I thought it would at least improve it, but it didn't even improve it one bit. So with that in mind, I've gone ahead and ordered a replacement cassette deck, and it's not Kenwood. Actually, it's Pioneer. And then I was sort of like, to hell with it. So I went ahead and ordered a Kenwood amp and a Pioneer amp and a Pioneer tuner as well off of eBay. The amp has actually arrived. I have it at my work right now, and I'll probably bring it home over the weekend. I haven't unboxed it. Hopefully it's in good enough condition. I did get a really good deal on it. It's from Pioneer's very early 80s Blue Line series, so it should have the digital blue VU meters. And same thing with both the amp and the cassette deck. The tuner that I ordered is just a kind of analog tuner like this, but it's from the same sort of line from around the same time, so it should match up pretty well. The components are, from what I can tell, shorter, as in they're not as tall as the Kenwoods, so I may be able to fit a little more in and free up a little bit more space somewhere in this little rack thing that I got going on here. So we'll see how that works out. I'll probably make another video either of the unboxing of the Pioneer stuff, or once I've got it set up, we'll have a video just to kind of show it off, assuming that it all works out okay. The other piece of equipment that I have down here, and I'm going to have to lower the camera a little bit because it's way down. This is a realistic 8-track player. It's a model TR802, and although realistic are sort of not considered particularly high-end, especially nowadays, This was actually one of the better 8-track players that you could buy at the time. It has a lot of cool features on it. It has Dolby, has dual VU meters. It has a lot of different ways you can play the 8-tracks, like different repeat options and stuff. It also has a really cool soft eject option, which was quite unusual for an 8-track player. Most 8-tracks you just wrenched out the cartridge and that was it, but this actually has an eject button that, which is nice. It's also a recorder, so you can record onto 8-tracks, which I have tried, and I was pleasantly surprised with the results. I have to say it sounded quite good. But I will do another video another time about the 8-track player itself and about the 8-tracks that I have. I don't have too many, but I have a few, and we'll take a look at them. And I'll do another video another time about my cassette collection. It's modest, but I do have a few. We'll take a look at those too. So for now, I just wanted to kind of show the system again. Again, I did briefly show it in my introductory video a few weeks ago. Yeah, so we got kind of a more in-depth look, a little bit of a close-up this time at some of the components. So if any of you guys want to leave comments, want to subscribe, please. I'd love to read your feedback, and I'd love to see some of your setups too. There's a number of subscribers who post videos regularly that I watch, and some of you have posted videos about your setups, but some of you haven't, or at least not that I've seen. So that would be great to see what equipment you guys are listening to all your music on. So, all right, guys, until next time. All right, thank you. Bye-bye.